The United States is now 1 month into military operations against Iran. At the same time, Iranian missiles and drones have begun hitting targets across the Gulf. This is no longer a distant conflict, it's spreading. This is the situation in April 2026. The U.S.-led campaign, Operation Epic Fury, is targeting Iran's military and nuclear-related sites. But Iran has responded with strikes on neighboring countries. Now the Gulf states are directly affected. President Trump has also raised serious questions about America's NATO allies and their role in this conflict. Tensions with Iran have been building for years. The stated goal of this operation is clear: to stop Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons and to limit its ability to support armed groups beyond its borders. The United States says it acted after Iran continued expanding its missile program and nuclear activity despite earlier diplomatic efforts. For Gulf countries, this threat is not new, but now it's real. Commercial shipping, airports, energy facilities, all have come under attack. According to officials in Abu Dhabi, air defenses intercepted an Iranian missile near the Khalifa economic zone. Falling debris caused minor damage. No casualties were reported. Just days earlier, a similar incident injured 6 people. Saudi Arabia reports intercepting 4 drones and 1 ballistic missile in recent hours. Alarms have sounded in Dubai and Bahrain. Off the coast of Qatar, a fuel tanker was hit. In Kuwait, the international airport has been attacked again within the last 24 hours. Reports also mention strikes on the Ahmedi refinery and a desalination and power plant. The U.S. Embassy in Kuwait has issued a warning: Iran and allied groups may target universities and other civilian sites. In his latest address, President Trump said, "Operation Epic Fury has destroyed much of Iran's navy, heavily damaged its air force, and reduced its missile and drone capabilities." He also claimed that most senior leaders of the former government are now dead, and weapons factories have been severely hit. The United States has lost 13 service members so far. And notably, Iran's oil sector has not been targeted yet. But power stations remain possible targets if no agreement is reached. Let's look at this without emotion. First, the Gulf states are paying a direct price. Ports, airports, refineries, shipping lanes, all disrupted. This affects daily life, energy supply, and global trade. The attacks are still limited, but they prove one thing: Iran can reach these countries even under pressure. The United States, on the other hand, claims it is now largely independent of Gulf oil. Domestic production and new arrangements with Venezuela have reduced reliance. Higher fuel prices? They are being blamed on attacks on tankers, not the war itself. Meanwhile, NATO allies have stayed out. Britain has said clearly, "This is not our war." President Trump has gone further, questioning NATO's value and even considering withdrawal. But legally, any exit would require Senate approval and 1 year's notice. The strategy appears simple. The U.S. wants to weaken Iran's long-range military power and nuclear potential without a ground war. Iran's response? Raise the cost for America's regional partners. So who benefits? The U.S. shows it can act alone. Gulf countries may gain long-term security but face short-term damage. Iran loses military strength and faces internal pressure. There are claims of a new Iranian leadership, less radical, but this remains unconfirmed. The next 2 to 3 weeks will be critical. President Trump says core military goals are nearly complete. If no agreement is reached, further strikes, especially on power infrastructure, are possible. Oil facilities remain untouched for now, perhaps to leave room for negotiation. The Strait of Hormuz is still open, but any closure could send global oil prices soaring. Gulf states are calling for de-escalation and a diplomatic solution. They were not consulted before this began, and now they want a say in how it ends. Iran has sent an open letter calling for dialogue instead of escalation. Whether this leads to peace or more conflict is still uncertain. This conflict is short compared to past wars, but it has already changed the risk map of the Middle East. The United States has shown it can act quickly and decisively. Gulf nations have learned distance no longer guarantees safety. Now the real test begins. Will military pressure lead to a lasting agreement or another cycle of violence? For the people of the region, stability, not victory, is what matters most.